Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
A radio love letter to the onesies. It's the Audience of One show on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5 FM, streaming on irlonestar.com and available wherever you tend to get your podcasts from. On today's show, we discuss getting your hand stuck in a very odd place, when snack food becomes violent, and having to vape to save your Tamagotchi. I am Andrew, maestro of the run sheet, next to the guy who thinks that scratching is a love language. It's Dick. I'd talk to a chick with a tail. Schisler.
What's going on?
It's your favorite kind. You know, we all have a type, and I think furry with a tail is your type. I think that's what we're finding out.
I mean, I wouldn't be like a deal breaker.
Yeah, you're not discriminating, right?
No, absolutely not.
I got one question for you, man.
I would give that heads up to everybody. I'd be like, just let you know she wears a tail. Just to let you know.
Might be more fun if you didn't, though.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Just to watch everybody's
what I should
reaction.
Do it and then totally ignore that it's there. Like, what are you talking about? She's where's this tail?
I don't see those things. I don't see things like that.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it would. Oh, man, I got one question for you, Dick. How's your bracket doing, man?
No, I don't care.
Yeah, I know. I figured you didn't. I think that'd be the biggest shock of all time if you came in with papers and like a pencil behind your ear and you're scratching down things. Like, what are you working on? My brackets, man. I'm in 3 different brackets right now for the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun. I'll watch.
There's no way you would do
basketball, but I don't really.
No, that's not your style. I'll just put it that way. I think I've done bracket maybe one time in my life, 20 years ago, and realized it's just a complete crapshoot. You know, you look at it, half the teams, I'm like, I don't know how well they do. I have no idea. I like their mascot. I'll advance them, you know? So I don't participate. I don't even really watch. Maybe when it gets down close to the end I will. But
yeah.
I'm just not into college basketball, man. I admit it. It's just not my thing.
Okay.
But it might be your thing. I got a question for you, Dick. Are you familiar with the term neurodivergent?
No, I feel like that's in a sci-fi movie or something.
Well, it's kind of a medical or a non-medical term, or I guess I should say it's a term, but it's not a medical diagnosis. But it's used to describe people who are different from what society classically considers normal behavior. So think of something like Asperger or Elon Musk. What is that?
I thought he had Asperger's.
No. He's got, what's the one I'm thinking of? I can't even think of it at the moment. But what I'm hearing now is folks call themselves... Autism, there we go. I don't know why it slipped my mind. But it's like a broad classification for people that kind of fall under that category. So no one gets diagnosed with being neurodivergent. It's just sort of a general term. But what I'm hearing these days is more people describing themselves
I love it.
as being neurodivergent. And
It was like people say you have autism.
right, but it's almost like they're saying it as a compliment to themselves. Well, I'm just neurodivergent.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, I think if you're truly neurodivergent, you probably aren't really good at identifying the fact that you are. Right? Like if you're neurodivergent, you're not going to tell people that you are, because that's kind of part of it. And to me, it seems like these people all sort of have one thing in common. They're kind of just a little dorky, a little different, but that doesn't mean that they're neurodivergent.
Well, I mean, I told you about that show that I love now. It's on Netflix. It's Love on the Spectrum.
Okay. Love on the Spectrum?
Yeah, Love on. It's like real people who have autism. But you discover real fast that there really is a spectrum.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, there's all kinds of... And those people probably would be considered neurodivergent.
And I still don't understand the spectrums. But...
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, if you watch the show... Because I understand, like, people might have a disability or something, but then they're like, the spectrum is all around the... Like, for example, the way I could tell through the show was people who were lightly on the spectrum could do speed dating. Mm-hmm. But people who are like, I guess, really on the spectrum, they actually set them up on dates to match their
level,
I guess. I don't really know how to I'm tiptoeing around it. But I was sitting there going like, man, I guess I just don't understand.
Well, I just think the more autistic you are, the less likely you are to describe yourself as autistic. Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you're really neurodivergent, you're probably not going to be, I guess, self-reflectance is probably not high up on your characteristic traits. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I it's funny. I was in a relationship, and she was convinced I was on the spectrum because I'm blunt, and I was like, what's wrong with just telling the truth? Like, just because I don't care what it even if it affects me.
So someone has claimed that you're on the spectrum.
Oh yeah. Oh, she was convinced. She's like, you're gonna go get tested. I'm like, yeah, but it's not like a blood test. It's like, regardless if I'm on or not, do I get money? No. Do I get anything? No. Then what am I going to change?
I find this very funny.
Oh no, I was having a good time with it because I was like, so you're telling me I can use it as an excuse? That's what you're telling me. But then I was like, but who cares? Like, I don't.
Well, I think there is something. There is something with you. I don't know that you're on the spectrum, so to speak, but there is a characteristic trait about you that is quite unique. I'll admit that.
I don't know. I was like, so you think I'm on the spectrum because I have no apathy?
That is a psychotic behavior.
Yeah, and I was like, sorry, I don't really care about your dead dog.
Yeah, no, that's psychotic behavior, sir. Or there's another term for it.
Well, it's sad, but it's one of those weird things. It's like how you react to circumstances, and I was always like, that sucks.
Oh well, move on.
Yeah, what's next?
Yeah, inability to relate to other people's emotional feelings and connect with them. That is also a symptom of being psychotic.
I get it. Well,
psychopathic, I guess.
But you could say it's autism too.
Psychopathic.
Or neurodivergent.
Neurodivergent.
I mean, I don't really know. It's not like I'm killing little animals in my house when I was 10.
Yeah, no, that is a sign.
Yeah,
that is a sign. Don't F with cats.
Yeah, it's one of those fun, because again, this show is remarkable. It really is.
Well, I think you should be on the lookout now for this term neurodivergent, because I swear, I took classes in college for abnormal psychology and psychology in general, and I never heard of that term. At least I don't remember it. And it seems like just in the last few years, it's sort of come to the forefront, and now I hear it quite often. And again, people classifying themselves almost like it's a badge of honor. I'm like, you're just kind of dorky and might have a hard time making friends. That doesn't make you neurodivergent.
Yeah, but it's especially it takes away from people who actually have like true autism.
Right.
And
right.
Again, that show, I encourage you to check it out because it opens your world up. You're like, oh, there really is a spectrum, and this is wild, and some of the stuff is hilarious, and in a good
unintentionally.
way. No, in a positive way. Like some of the stuff they would say, it was funniest stuff. I love it. But then again, I hang out with people like that all the time, so it doesn't really.
You can identify with them. I have this funny story.
Well, someone was like, "Are you just making fun? Why are you laughing so much at this show?" Because I was with a bunch of people watching. I was like, "Are you not listening to these folks? Like, this is hilarious. Like, this guy's actually funny. He's a genuine funny guy. And maybe he has some tics, but it's still like if you look at the families, if they're laughing,
sure,
then you're fine.
Yeah, as long as they're not laughing at him.
Yeah,
laugh with him.
So because
maybe a little bit of both.
Some of it's so great. You'd love it.
Okay, love on the spectrum.
Yeah, it's such an interesting show. I think it's I think it's considered reality.
The audience of one show is kind of radio on the spectrum, so let's be honest with it.
Yeah, well, like there's this one particular girl.
I'm going to try and diagnose you over the next few weeks.
This one particular girl, she's like an animator, and she literally just goes, if he doesn't like animation, out.
Hey, man, she's got to have her standards. She knows what she likes.
Oh, dude, and it was like there was one scene with her. She basically was backhanding him the whole time. Like she's, oh, you're not that attractive, but you like animation, so like you're really high on my list.
Okay, so backhand compliments. I thought you meant physically giving him a backhand. I'm like, wow, this show just got great.
No, it's one of the funniest things. Is like I can't imagine being at that table and that woman talking to me that way. That would be the craziest thing.
So if you're not into anime, is that what you said? Anime?
No, animation.
Animation.
She likes animation.
Right.
That's what she like. Her passion.
If you're not into animation, creating animation, the art of it, but you're really into her, you gonna fake it?
Well, I mean, I think everyone does that.
You're like,
one way or
I
another.
love animation. Bugs Bunny, and that stuff's great.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, you can't really fake that long term.
Yeah, just long enough.
Yeah.
Depends on where she lands on the spectrum.
Yeah, I guess. But it's a great show. If you really want to experience something like totally different, check it out because it really is out there, and it's very eye opening.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for
Especially another show I liked was that Bailing Out Loud girl.
Bailing Out Loud.
Yeah, Balin. I think her name is Balin. She has Tourette's. But she has that small percentage of Tourette's where she uses curse words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, vocal and
it's like a legit thing. And the stuff she says, I wouldn't stop laughing. Like if I was in the room with her, I'd be like, that is the funniest thing I've heard all day today.
And the show's called Bailing Out Loud. I love it. So I was talking the other day with this guy, a guy, and he told me this interesting story that he had an Uber driver that claimed that driving for Uber had made him immune from catching colds. And he used the fact that he had over 3,000 rides during the height of the pandemic and never caught COVID as evidence of such. I'm like, that's pretty out there,
fair.
man.
That's fair.
But I love these types of claims, right? That you have, there's some plausibility to it. I mean, it seems like it could be, but at the same time, you have no way of actually proving it. And to me, if you're going to become immune from it, wouldn't you would had to have caught it, ergo to have gotten some sort of immunity to it. But I love this.
Like I had that discussion, I remember with my mom, and because person I knew was a nurse, and they were always like, you need to get the flu shot.
Mm-hmm. Measles parties,
and,
right.
And I'm like, well, I never really grew up getting the flu shot. That's strange. Like, I asked my mom, I was like, why didn't we ever just get the flu? Like, apparently people just do it every year. And she goes, it was too much of a hassle to take all the kids. And then
just catch it.
And then it's like, it's a chance. So
rolling the dice.
She's like, and y'all go to school, so y'all are going to get sick one way or another.
That's exactly right.
And it might not be the flu, but it's going to be like a severe cold or.
But I love this, though. I would love to get a ride with this guy. You get in, he rolls the windows up, locks the door,
sneeze on me,
turns off the air conditioner, and he's like, this is just good for me. Do it. Yeah, that's right. Breathe it in.
But for some reason, like I personally
makes me powerful.
I don't really get colds. I rarely get sick, but when I get sick, it's bad.
Trust me.
Because some people just get randomly sick all the time, and it's like kind of like, oh, I'm just down because I have a head cold.
Sure.
But like I never really get that stuff. But when I get sick, it's like I'm in bed for 4 days with fever and like all sorts of random things. But
yeah, you're right. It is interesting how some people will kind of just get light colds periodically, and then some people are like, man, I hardly ever get sick. But when I do, that's when I call an Uber.
And it's usually like once every 4 years.
That's when I call an Uber and roll up the windows on the guy.
Well, especially during COVID. Everyone thought they had COVID.
Everybody did have COVID.
Yeah.
Dick, that was the point. It's why it's called a pandemic.
Well, I never got it. But I got sick one time, and it was really bad.
You probably had.
But it wasn't like what their symptoms were. It was, That's one thing I liked about the COVID thing is everyone had different symptoms.
Sure. Everything became COVID.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because I remember I had severe diarrhea.
COVID!
And they were convinced I had COVID. I was like, no, I can't eat anything. Like, everything I eat goes to water.
Do you see my diet? It has nothing to do with COVID. I literally ate 4 pounds of crawfish.
And beer and...
Just yesterday.
But yeah, I can see that Uber guy.
I have no idea if that's actually a thing, but I just love when people make these wild claims like this. Oh man, made me immune to COVID.
I think I'd be more freaked out if I met a family that's never been sick, like with kids going to school, because I feel like it is what it is. Like if the kid gets it, everyone gets it.
Yeah, it's usually the way it goes.
And because you raise some children, like it can hit you, it cannot hit you, but it hits someone else. I always felt that when I was younger, when you got sick, the whole point to get rid of it is you got to get someone else sick.
Because you got to get it out of your system. I got to get it out of my system. It has to go into somebody else before it's
I got to
get
somebody. I got to get somebody.
I got to get over this cold. Come here.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I did. I was like,
sneezing him. I'm going to make out with you.
Yeah.
I really got to get over this cold, man.
Put it over everywhere.
Call the Uber.
But that's when I was like 10 because I hated being sick.
Okay. Well, yeah. Who loves it, Dick? I mean, let's be honest.
Well, I know some older people. They're like, yeah, I don't have to go to work today because I'm sick. But I'm like, yeah. But
I don't think you enjoy being sick. I think you enjoy the fact that you don't have to go to work. I don't think I've ever heard anybody go, "Oh man, so great. What'd you do this weekend? Caught COVID. It was awesome."
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
True. I guess.
Doesn't happen. Dick, I got to ask you yet another question.
Okay.
No on neurodivergent. That was the first question.
Yeah.
Do you consider listening to books on tape as being as reading a book?
No.
Have we talked about this before?
We might have.
Sounds familiar.
I think what pisses me off is when people say, yeah, I read it. And then
Right.
I'm like, cool. And then
See, I don't
within the conversation,
think...
it's like, yeah, I'm still on the audiobook number 2. I'm like, wait, so you didn't read it. You listened to it. Which is not, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't care one way or the other. But if someone asks me if I consider books on tape reading, I'm going to say, you didn't read that. Because otherwise, our onesies are reading Audience of One every single week.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And Lord knows this is not healthy reading. You wouldn't want to read
Well, I mean,
this.
if you're blind, do they consider that reading when they listen to audiobook?
I don't know.
But when it's Braille,
But when
that's
it's Braille.
that's reading.
Yeah, I would. Yes, I would consider that reading. But I don't know. I just don't think books on tape should be considered reading. That's my bold stance for the week. Onesies.
No, I agree.
Hey, we actually agreed on
Yeah.
something.
Well, I mean,
That's
it's just
pretty
kind
cool.
of, well, it's totally different. It's not reading, it's listening. So now, if you're reading while listening, I can get.
Okay. All right. All right, man, you ready to kick off this show this week? I got some crazy A stories, man. Very, very weird. Doctors at a hospital in Jilin, China reported one of their most bizarre cases yet. A woman had gotten her hand stuck in her boyfriend's what, Dick?
I don't know, trousers.
If only he were so lucky. Stuck in his mouth while trying to film a funny video. I don't know if this is real or not. I'm going to let you and the onesies be the judge. Something smells a little off about this, kind of like neurodivergence. It is plausible, not neurodivergence, that was the COVID guy, but I just don't think this is real. But clips and photos of a couple walking into the emergency room of a hospital in Jilin province have been doing the rounds on Chinese social media. The premise doesn't sound very intriguing, but what really attracted people's attention was that the woman had her hand in the man's mouth. Apparently, they had tried
How
to
did he
shoot
not gag?
a funny video to post online in which they tried to see if the woman's entire hand was small enough to fit into her boyfriend's mouth. She managed to stuff her fist in the mouth just fine, but when she tried to pull it out, the mouth muscle stiffened and the hand became stuck. After repeatedly trying to pull her hand out from the man's mouth, the young woman decided that they needed medical attention. Of course, there's pictures of this. It doesn't look real, but there's also video. And he's walking into the emergency room, slobber's going down his face because he can't close his mouth. I don't know how funny of a video this would have been, but it's funny now. I have to admit, if that were me, I would be absolutely terrified. Not being able to close my mouth like that, whether or not it's a fist in there or not very comfortable. Dick, have you ever had a fist in your mouth?
Yeah.
I figured that you had. How'd that go for you?
That's not pleasant.
No. Do you think this is real?
I mean, it could be.
That's what I'm saying. It's plausible. I think the situation could happen. I just don't know if this situation is real. But here it is. Another story of somebody trying to go viral doing something stupid. Are you not going to show the video?
I'm trying to find it. I just see I see
where
the
did it go?
picture.
Oh, I wonder if I grabbed the other link that did not have the video.
I might have
in
the
it.
picture up.
Yeah, okay. There was one of the links I was looking at that actually had a video of it, but I think the link was not very
Trustworthy?
Yeah, so I went somewhere else with it, but I don't know. I think it might be fake, but I'm not for sure. I wanted to bring this to air. Maybe some of the onesies can decide for themselves whether or not they think this was real. I don't know. Dick, what's that?
I mean, it was real. It was today. Did you see it happen today? All those steers got loose on 45.
I did see that. Yeah, there were
Like,
some
that's
cows. I
real.
don't know if those were steers, but cows, yeah. Don't steers have big horns?
Well, I think some of them did.
Did they?
Yeah.
I just saw 2 of them. Were there more than 2?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Where did they come from?
I don't know. They were saying that since the rodeo ended, they said they got loose, and then they somehow found themselves on the highway. I don't really know how.
Oh, okay, that makes a little more
Like
sense.
I don't think the latch came undone while they're on the highway and then just walked out. I think they found themselves.
They just got bored. Maybe those cows were a bit neurodivergent.
Maybe they knew what was going to happen, so they just try to end it themselves.
Yeah, let's get out of this quick. got like death by police officer. This would just be death by Toyota Celica.
Yeah.
A Florida woman has been arrested for allegedly slicing a man's face open with what, Dick? What do you think she sliced?
A hand.
Not just a hand. A hand that had a Pringles can in it.
Oh, wow.
Shaninka Sherdal, 28, is accused of wielding the chip container at the unsuspecting victim in a 7-Eleven gas station in Orlando last Thursday. This is hilarious. The cashier told the reporter, quote, "The female called the guy a bitch and whacked him with the Pringles." Which is the only reason we're doing this story. So the story goes, this guy, unsuspecting, goes into a 7-Eleven, and this Shanika just decides to turn around, call this guy a bitch, and then hits him with a Pringles can.
And sliced his mouth open?
Sliced his face open pretty good. Apparently, he required several stitches. The victim was left with a gaping wound around his eye. He had a significant cut on his right eyebrow below his eye, causing him to bleed, the Orange County Sheriff's deputy said. The cut looked significant and appeared it would leave a scar and permanent disfigurement. But you got a cool story. Dude, what happened to your face? I got Pringled, bro.
Yeah, that's actually kind of phenomenal. I bet he's like, wait, why am I bleeding?
Yeah, he said the assault appeared to be unprovoked. He just went in there for a pack of Pall Malls and came out with a scar under his eye. Pretty crazy. Pringles cans are kind of fun, though. You got to admit it. Every kid has done what?
Well, you ever try to put your hand in one?
Stick your hand in the Pringles can. It's kind of like the hand in the mouth situation. Yeah, of course I did.
That's a big hand.
Did you see the
or a big hole that
the online hoax that was going around a couple months ago about the woman of size who sued Pringles because she was unable to remove her hand from a can of Pringles?
I mean, I've been there. I've been there.
It was fake as hell, but it was some funny, I don't know, internet troll story there for a while. Well, just be careful when you're in Florida. If anybody comes up to you with a Pringles can, man, you might be called a biatch and get hit.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he was being a bitch. I don't know, man. Are you familiar with, staying on this theme of snacks? Because snacks are good, Dick. Have you ever tried or eaten pirate booty?
Oh, yeah. That's good stuff.
Oh, you like pirate booty?
That's good stuff.
Yeah, if anybody's who's listening that is not familiar with pirate booty, that is like a, how would you describe it? It's kind of like Cheeto Puffs, similar?
Yeah, that's what I would
similar
describe it as.
consistency. Yeah. I think they've got all kinds of different flavors now, which is pretty cool. Well, the founder of Pirates Booty Snacks lost his bid for mayor in the tiny New York community after he claimed he was the village leader and had the authorities to replace the entire local government. This is kind of a wild story, but the current mayor, Elaine Viafane, I'm guessing, defeated the Pirate Booty Snacks founder Robert Ehrlich, 1,064 votes to, how many votes do you think old Robert Ehrlich of Booty Snacks fame received?
20.
Not bad. He got a whole 62 votes. There were 62 votes out there for him. But he lost the election on Tuesday in the Village, which is 26 miles northeast of Midtown Manhattan. So basically, the incumbent mayor had been running unopposed for years, and she was well into her third term. But like 2 weeks before the election, this guy Ehrlich jumps in and is like, "I'm running for mayor of this here town."
I like it.
Wasn't getting much attention. Walked into apparently the, I guess, City Hall, claimed that he was the rightful owner of said village and wanted to fire the entire staff. And he's wondering why he didn't win election.
Well, is he wondering why no one was listening to him?
Yeah, maybe.
Because
Said the village staff remained calm and professional throughout the incident. Ehrlich and his associates raised their voices, used profane language, made outlandish claims, and engaged in direct harassment of village personnel. Despite multiple requests to leave, they refused, creating a hostile and disruptive environment that required police intervention. Crazy, man. I'm always wondered about these guys. First of all, how do you invent something like pirate booty? Like, what are you doing?
on accident,
Yeah,
probably.
what are you doing? He's probably already kind of an eccentric guy, I'm guessing.
That's good stuff. It's expensive, though.
Yeah, it is. The bags are not very large, and
Yeah, they get you.
they get you. Well, he's probably loaded and just bored and decided, I'm going to go take over this small town. But before I do so, let me be the mayor.
Yeah, maybe he woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Ehrlich reject the election results, saying that they were rigged. Where
Yeah.
have we heard that before?
Every day. Everything's rigged.
I love this, man. Yeah, I like the old pirate booty. You know what I would invent, though, if I were of such ilk to do so? A Cheeto-like puffs that doesn't come off on your fingers.
It would be Cheetos then.
That's part of the experience? I
Yeah.
don't know, man. That's the worst part, I think, of the Cheeto is the finger.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
No.
Because then, okay, do you wash your hands or do you do the lick?
I wash my hands. Well, I lick it and then I wash
That's
my hands.
okay. See, I find that gross, but the powder, the residue that's left over, is the best part. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So you want to lick it to get that powder, but then at the same time, you're licking your fingers.
What other,
That's gross,
what
man.
other flavors do they have?
I'm unaware, but something tells me you're going to go to the Pirate Booty website.
Yeah.
Careful, you might find something else.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you're like, man, I'm hoping. No, I don't know. I much like never having a hand inside my mouth, I certainly don't want fingers inside my mouth, even if they're my own. But I can't resist every time I have a nice, delicious Cheeto snack to lick my fingers, man. They got barbecue. Maybe they have some sour cream and onion. What are you finding over there, bud?
Just more cheddar blast.
Well, they're all cheddar.
Smart, yeah.
Aged white cheddar, I believe, is their main flavor. What's up?
I'm just seeing all white cheddar. I haven't really seen anything else.
No? Well, you claim to know all about them, and they're your favorite snack.
I don't know, dude.
I mean, right before we came on the air, you slammed me up against the wall, and we're like, bro, you got to try the new Pirate Booty flavor.
I think he sold the Pirate Booty.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Now he just got his own Pirate Booty Island from all the money.
Well, I think Hershey owns it. Because
I
I'm on Hershey's website.
I bet he made a fair penny from
Not
that.
enough to buy votes. What an idiot. Right?
I guess so. 62 of them. Not bad. How many votes did you get?
Yeah.
0. Exactly, Dick.
Well, maybe you shouldn't wait till 2 weeks before election.
All right, I've got an update on 2 stories we did over the last couple of weeks right before we go to the break here. Do you remember the story we did of the man who swallowed the earrings?
Oh, yeah.
Jathan Gilder.
And then they had to wait till he pooped them
of
out.
Houston, Texas. That's right. Well, after nearly 2 weeks, they finally got it. And to that I say 2 weeks to pass that
that's
thing.
Insane. That's insane.
But yes, they have finally recovered the stolen jewels. There's a picture of it.
Ooh.
Yes. And it does appear as though Tiffany's has cleaned them and is planning on reselling them.
Yeah. That's important.
That's what we were wondering, if that was going to be what their next steps or what they were going to do with them. But yeah, they've got them all. They show a picture of them there, all nice and cleaned up.
Yeah, that looks very...
But if they're so...
That looks uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, that he swallowed those. But if they're so clean, why is that guy wearing a blue glove? I mean, come on.
I don't know, man.
Maybe it's to not put any fingerprints on them.
I don't know.
Oh, do you remember the story of Dank DeMoss? This was the woman that was too large to fit into a Lyft driver.
Yeah.
And she sued Lyft.
Well, what happened?
The legal battle between plus-size rapper Dank DeMoss and the ride-sharing giant Lyft has reached its conclusion, with DeMoss reportedly losing her lawsuit.
That's too bad.
Yeah, the case, which ignited a national conversation about discrimination and accessibility, stemmed from an incident in January where Lyft driver refused to transport DeMoss, citing concerns about the vehicle's capacity.
Wasn't it like a tiny Camry or something?
I think it was just a regular, size car. And
'cause I remember
she's not a regular size human being.
Yeah.
There's pictures of her there if you're really interested in seeing her. But yeah, she sued, saying, "Hey man, this is discrimination, et cetera," and she lost. The lawsuit argued that Lyft failed to ensure its drivers adhered to anti-discrimination policies, and that the drivers' actions caused emotional distress and violated DeMoss's civil rights. However, a court disagreed vehemently and said, you need to get a bigger SUV. Leave this man's little car alone.
Yeah. I remember that. If I remember correctly, that's what he offered.
Yeah, I think he did say.
He goes, "Hey, we can order you another one."
Like, just not my car because my tires can't support it or something. It's great.
I mean, that's just logic.
Yeah, you would think so. All right, man, it's a pretty good time to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what can happen if you don't pay your bills. Right here on the Audience of One show. Stick around.
Car enthusiasts of Conroe, FM 104.5 and 106.1 Lone Star Community Radio invites you to shift into gear every Monday from 1 to 2 with Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy for news on all things automotive in the greater Houston-Conroe area. Can't make a live show? We've got you covered. You can find all of our uncut content, including full episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Play Store, YouTube, Facebook, and irlonestar.com. Again, that's Mondays 1 to 2, Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy. See you there.
And we're back to Audience of One, Part 2, here on Lone Star Community Radio, hanging out every Friday at 10 a.m. And, yeah, we're back. We're back. I do want to let everyone know that you can always watch us on Lone Star Community Radio's YouTube channel, on our podcast. Just look up Audience of One Show, and Facebook and all that kind of stuff.
And all that kind of stuff. Onesies, just so you know, Dick, during the break, went over, locked the door, turned the air off, and started breathing really, really heavy in here. So, yeah, we're going to do this, baby. We're going to make you immune. We're never catching colds again, brother.
And I go, here's the tail. That's good luck tail.
Breathe. That's good for you. Just take it. Speaking of like weird, I don't know, science and stuff like that, have you ever been to a chiropractor before? Gotten your back cracked?
No, I've been to them before, but I've never.
Wait, what? Like you just walk in the lobby and be like, sup?
No, when I first started the station.
What's going on here, guys?
One of our first sponsors was a chiropractor, and I remember visiting the office and just checking out all his stuff.
He didn't give you a free crack?
No, I don't really have back problems.
I don't think you have to have back problems to go.
I don't have back pain.
Okay.
I don't have any pain.
Well, I think there's different philosophies.
You remember, I'm
pain.
autistic, so I don't feel anything.
You're on the spectrum.
I'm on the spectrum. I don't feel anything.
I think there's different types and different philosophies of back cracking, where some folks do it as a preventative thing as well, and not just in case of.
I think the craziest thing I ever heard was if you
maintenance, so to speak.
Apparently, if you do an obnoxious amount.
An obnoxious amount?
And an obnoxious amount of LSD.
Okay.
It will attach itself to your spine.
Oh, I know where you're going.
And so people were talking about like 50 years later, they're going to the chiropractor and they would get high. And
I've heard that story.
I really like that idea.
Yeah, so you're like, I'm preparing now so that I can get high on the free in about 30 years. Yeah, so I've heard that story too, that folks who may have dabbled in the drugs in their 20s later in life will go and get a real good adjustment and pop something and loosen something up, and they have like a side effect trip 30 years later. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd like to think that it is, because that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. I don't know. I do feel like chiropractors are kind of, or chiropractics in general, is a little bit like the Scientology of medicine, but hey, it's cool.
I don't know.
I went for a while, and I rather liked it, you know?
I'm not going to judge anybody.
Yeah, it did feel like
I'm sticking hands in people's mouths.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, who could say anything about me?
I did feel like my range of motion was always way better. Like my neck, I could move further around. I felt like I was standing up a little bit better. The problem is it's kind of addictive because you go once, you feel pretty good, but then after a couple of days, that thing is worn off, and you're right back to looking like Hunchback of Notre Dame, you know? Ugh.
Well, I mean, I get it, whatever. Their money's green.
I don't know. Some people really believe in it, man. Yeah, their money's green. Yeah, exactly. Dick, when you were a kid, were you ever into, like the Daredevils? Who am I thinking of? Like Evel Knievel?
Not really.
Or anything like that? For me, when I was a kid, it was Super Dave Osborne. You know who Super Dave Osborne is? Really? Man, maybe we'll have to do a segment on him. He's gotten really weird these days. I think he went overboard with the plastic surgery. He looks a bit odd. But in the 80s, Super Dave Osborne was like a spoof, basically, of Evel Knievel, and he would do stupid tricks. And it would...
Marty Funkhauser.
Yeah. Oh, is that the character he's playing now in Arrested Development or something strange, right? What is he in? I forget.
Bob Epstein is the actor's name.
Yeah, well, he was really cool. I thought he was pretty funny. But it seems to me like you just don't really see daredevils much anymore. You don't really see that type of...
Wasn't that Patronus guy?
What?
There's a guy, it's like Nitro Circus. That's a big deal.
Nitro Circus? That sounds awesome, whatever
Yeah.
you're talking about. Now, the one, I think of like maybe the Walindas. There was that dude that would tightrope walk maybe 15 years ago on live TV between two buildings without a net. Remember that was a big deal?
Travis Pastrana. Yeah,
We may have to bleep that out.
Nitro Circus.
I never heard
it
of
was
it.
on MTV. It was like he set up these like crazy things. Like he was like
Recently?
Yeah, there was one he did like an ad where he jumped out of a plane without a parachute and drank a Red Bull.
Okay. Well, yeah, gotta have the Red Bull.
And
Like
then
that really...
Well, I think that was a sponsor or something.
of course, yeah.
And then they caught him, and then
So this was recent. Okay, so maybe he would be the modern day equivalent, I guess. Because I don't know. I just felt like you don't see him anymore. And the Traveling Walindas, like I said, was 10, 15 years ago.
stunt performances.
We've changed the name.
That's what they call it. Yeah, I found it. I'm looking.
Okay. All right. Well, S on me. I screwed up. I didn't know about this guy. My apologies to the stunt performance.
Yeah, because I remember seeing there's a big thing about him jumping something, and I was like, oh, we're back on this stick.
Yeah, and I think for a while, maybe the Daredevil was replaced by like the street magician.
Yeah.
Doing crazy things like
Chris Angel and stuff
Angel,
like that. Yeah.
those guys, and they would stay underwater for 30 minutes
David
or whatever.
Blaine.
David Blaine. I think they kind of had their moment in the sun, but even that's kind of going out of fashion now. I think. I mean, he's always trying to do some new thing, but yeah, you just don't see the Daredevil anymore. And I say bring him back. So I'm glad you found that for me, man. I'm glad
Well, I
you
mean,
found that for me.
I mean, isn't that what like Red Bull's marketing strategy is?
Stupid crap. I don't know what you're talking about.
They always have something like every so often. They're like, oh, this guy's going to do this or this lady's going to do that.
Yeah, they've always sponsored like the Red Bull games where they have people making cars to see how far they can fly them off of a ramp and stuff every year.
Yeah.
Because remember, it gives you wings. That's their whole thing. So, yeah, I know they've been a title sponsor for activities
They have a
like
stunt
that, but-
team. They have the Red Bull Air Force.
Oh, yeah. Air Force. So these are like planes.
They have skydiving teams. They got a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, they're doing it all the time, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know either. Dick, we were talking about during the break sleep tape, and if you're familiar with this concept of what sleep tape is, I saw it in an advertisement to me. ZZZ tape was what came up in my social media feed, and
Yeah.
it looked absolutely terrifying. Basically, what this is, if you're not familiar, onesies, it's a piece of tape that you put over your mouth as if you were the kid in elementary school in the 1970s and 80s that wouldn't stop talking. Now you can't do that type of stuff. You'd put a piece of tape over their mouth to get them to stop talking. Well, this, I guess, in theory, is supposed to help you sleep so that you don't breathe through your mouth and I guess snore less, etc., etc. I had never seen this. It looks medieval. I don't know that I would be comfortable enough with a piece of duct tape on my face to sleep. And that's when you said, "Oh yeah, man, I've
tried
used
it.
this stuff."
Yeah, I've used it. I snore. So, yeah, I've put tape over my mouth.
But that was just on like a date, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So what was the occasion in which you used sleep tape?
It was something like when I was growing up, I had like swallowing problems. And so I had to do all these techniques with swallowing.
It's part of the spectrum.
And one of the techniques was being able to like teach myself to breathe just through my nose so I could swallow. And I remember like they had to put the sleep tape on me, and it was like, it was so weird
Please tell me more.
because it really felt like I was choking, like I was
I
drowning.
bet, yeah.
I was just drowning, but
Especially
it's like,
if you're used to breathing through your mouth, and all of a sudden now you can't.
yeah. I mean, it's been fun, but
See, one of the things though,
it wasn't for sleeping though. That's the funny thing is like it wasn't because I don't know if I could sleep even if I have a problem.
But what you probably didn't anticipate at 10 years old when you were putting tape on your mouth, that it was going to create a wicked fixation later in life.
yeah.
A kink, so to speak. Yeah, you didn't know at the time. Now you got to
No,
have
then
it.
they discovered I had a deviated septum, so no amount of tape would have helped me breathe.
Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take,
Yeah.
right? I mean, try the sleep tape. I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I don't even know that I want to do it. And I also don't know how well it works for beards. Oh, it says, how about the bearded folks? Oh, how funny. At ZZZ Tape, which, no, this is not an advertisement for them, but if they'd like to sponsor,
Yeah.
go right ahead. We appreciate a strong beard or the perfect stubble. Oh my God. And designed the tape to hold onto your beautiful face. When applying the tape, we recommend massaging the strip for 15 to 30 seconds. That should warm up the medical grade adhesive, and then will ensure that the tape sticks to your beard and would remain in place throughout the night. I'd be afraid it would rip the hair right out the next morning, though.
I wouldn't worry about it.
You got this little circle patch around your mouth. Sorry, man.
That's funny.
No, it is kind of funny. It is kind of funny. Dick, earlier this month, participants in a New York University NYU Stupid Hackathon created something remarkable. I quite like this one.
Okay.
A vape-embedded Tamagotchi-style virtual pet that dies if the user fails to keep puffing.
Oh, that's awesome. I always wanted one of those.
This is insane. First of all, were you of the age to use or play with Tamagotchis?
Oh, yeah.
See, this missed me. I was a little too old. I thought they were kind of lame. Please explain to the onesie what a Tamagotchi is.
If I remember correctly, it was like a little electronic device that had like a creature that you raise, and you had to do things throughout the day.
So like a real low-def graphic of an animal or a creature that you created.
I remember.
Called a Tamagotchi,
Yeah.
right? Kind of anime-looking, sort of, right? And if you didn't interact with it, well, it died, right? Is that the whole thing?
Did it?
Yeah, I think it would die, and then you'd have to go and buy a new one. I guess the idea here was you just had to keep interacting with it in some sort of way to keep it going, and I guess it was popular. It was an early digital type AI friend, I guess. It was the early leader of that. I don't know. Well, they said,
Well,
hey,
I like this one. You gotta keep puffing.
I love this marketing, though. This is great. So basically, this is a vape pen with a Tamagotchi attached to it, a little digital guy, that if you don't keep vaping, the guy dies. I love it. You got to set an alarm at like 2 a.m. Hold on.
Yeah.
There you go, little buddy. Just for you.
That's a little weird, but okay.
What do you mean? You got to keep them alive well, I don't know, man. The idea for the vape-embedded Tamagotchi device has been floated around a lot on Twitter in the past, but I pitched it independently to so-and-so last year, and the project we could work on together, I don't really care. These are people all getting into it, but I thought they were going to talk a little bit more about the actual device itself.
I mean, it's kind of a simple concept.
Yeah, it is a simple concept. You just smoking. Can you see him doing this with a pack of Marlboros or something as well?
And a little cute little noise. Me, 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 me.
Thank you for the tobacco.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I can't imagine this actually going over very well here in the United States, especially as how uppity we are with marketing things to children, or the fear that we're marketing something to children. This absolutely 100% probably would fall into that category.
100%.
Mommy, can I have a Tamagotchi vape?
100%.
What are your ideas, or what are your thoughts on vapes? You okay with them? You don't care? You're not going to care. Why am I asking? I don't care.
I mean, it's whatever.
Would you prefer that it had a Tamagotchi on it, though? So for instance,
I think that would be hilarious if I saw someone just like just keep dragging, and I'm like,
make this guy healthy and happy.
I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And he's just like, I'm getting my gains in for my Tamagotchi. But then again, it's
health vapes. We've talked about those. All your vitamins and minerals.
Vitamin vapes.
Vita vapes.
Those are real.
Yeah.
No, I think in vaping in general is perfectly fine. What I do love is we as a society haven't really confirmed it's vaping indoors. We know it's totally different from smoking a cigarette indoors, but people are like, you know what, you still can't do it indoors.
Yeah, it's really become like a cigarette now. Most places don't allow you to vape indoors, but I like this scenario, though, of you're like, I have to keep my Tamagotchi alive, though. Yeah. Excuse me, sir, you can't vape. Would you like for me to kill the Tamagotchi? Do you want this little guy to die?
Little
I
Jeffrey.
think not.
Little Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Is that how you smoke your vape? That noise you make?
That's how I do it.
Is that you do it from your rectum? Or
no one ever taught me, so this is just how I do it naturally, bro.
No, actually, some people are really talented with those whole vape things. Have you ever seen the people do little?
We talked at length about the vape blowing competitions.
Well,
that's
just. I don't think that was designed.
That was volume. That was shape.
Volume.
That was all kinds of stuff. That was so stupid.
But man, there's the thing that creeps me out about vapes is people who smoke them always have them in their hands. Because like when people would smoke cigarettes, they usually had the pack, on them. But it wasn't like they would just smoke a cigarette and be good for the next 20 minutes or whatever. Mm-hmm. But people who smoke vape, I've noticed it's like
they carry it in their hand. You have a good point.
They carry it in their hand, and it's a little off-putting. Because if you try to shake someone's hand or hand them something, it's just like, oh, I got this vape in my hand. I'm like, well, get rid of it.
Yeah, I got a vape in one hand and a phone in the other.
Yeah. Why don't they make a phone vape? So the phone only works when you're vaping.
Oh, my God. We're going to be millionaires, Dick.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Audience of one. Oh, my God. Dick, you know how you're always on this show putting me through scenarios. If you had all this money, you would pay me sums of money to do all kinds of asinine things.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We've talked about it now for the last 6-7 months, all these different scenarios you have me doing. Well, wouldn't you know, Mr. Beast, who does have a lot of money, must be listening to the Audience of One
wonderful.
show. Because he is currently pitching a series of shows. What would you do for 100 days, basically? I'm trying to find this here. He tweeted yesterday about several videos that he has coming, and they all follow a similar theme. A pilot gets a plane for free if he can live in it for 100 days. A cop and a criminal each get $500,000 if they can stay in jail for 100 days. And I love this one. A fat person gets $500,000 if he loses 100 pounds while living in the gym. Yeah, you can probably see where he's going with all of these.
I like
this
it.
is exactly the same type crap
he did one,
you had me doing.
He did one that was interesting where you had to live in the grocery store.
This guy's
But the catch is you had to sell. It was either like $2,000, $5,000. It was some number, but you had to sell product every day, like up to $10,000. Like he had to sell $5,000 worth of product. So he wanted to see what the person would choose first. And of course, it was the frozen stuff because the power was eventually going to go out.
Sure, of course.
But then it became like the essentials, where it was like toilet paper and things. And he's like, well, I don't know if I want to sell this because I'm going to need this.
That's interesting.
Because he had to eat everything that was in the ground. Like everything was there. And
See, I love this because I love how his benevolence comes with a price, because he wants to be seen as this guy who's giving away money and everything, but now he's gotten bored with that, so he's making these people do things for cash, for his own entertainment.
Yeah. I don't know what that
This
person...
guy's sick.
I don't even know what that person would win. It wasn't like he won the grocery store or something, but it was odd. I was like, okay, cool. We get to see some people make some stupid decisions about,
Yeah, it says right here you could live in if you live in a car for 100 days, you get the car for free. Presumably there would be some allowance for using the bathroom and not getting fired from your job, but at the very least you'd be expected to sleep in it every night and spend a minimum number of
people
hours.
People already do that
inside.
today.
Yeah, exactly. I did that for 3 weeks while I was in college, man.
Yeah.
No one
Now the
gave a
airplane
crap.
one would be interesting.
Yeah, to me that's pretty. I mean, depends on what kind of airplane. Like if we're talking like
Regardless, it'd be cool.
an F-16, that cockpit's pretty tiny. That would be ridiculous. But if it's a large airliner, I mean, first class seats, got some TVs. I'd watch a different movie from every seat while I was in there. Keep myself occupied.
I like mine. Mine are great for you because it would put you in embarrassing scenarios. I wish I kept a list of them.
I know I can't remember. I'd have to go back and see if I can conjure up all of those.
I can come up with one during this show, though.
I'm sure you could. There was something about making me have an accent at a restaurant.
Oh, yeah, you have to work at Outback.
And have an
pretend to
Australian
be
accent.
Australian.
Or Chinese, and I have to put on a Chinese accent.
No. I like the Australian one because, like,
Yeah.
because when you
That
go
was
to
the most recent one anyways.
because when you go to, we talked about it, when you went to Outback, you never expect to run into somebody Australian.
Driving an expensive sports car with boner meds in. So
See,
yeah, all
that's
kinds of
another one.
stuff.
The only time you could drive that poor Spider is you had to take ED medication.
Stupid.
I think that's great. Oh, man,
God.
that's so good. That's a good one.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And then
Mr. Beast has been
And
listening.
then I
that's all
called
I'm
the
saying.
police. I'm like, there's this guy in the Spider. You need to pull him over.
Make him stand up and do a sobriety test. But make sure you make him stand up.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Speaking of airplanes, an unorthodox Jewish passenger says a United Airlines pilot forcibly removed him from an airplane bathroom while he was experiencing constipation, exposing his genitalia to other flyers during a flight
Here we go.
from Mexico to Houston. This is really funny. I think his name is Yisrael Lieb. Yisrael. of New Jersey described his trip allegedly taking unfriendly skies this week. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Basically,
Cody,
he
you
said
get the worst
pilot,
articles.
Yeah, they're always worded so they try and be funny and cheesy. Basically, he said that the pilot made disparaging remarks about their faith. I don't know about this, but apparently this guy was in the bathroom for over 20 minutes and wouldn't come out. So the pilot had to go in there and forcibly remove him, which at that point, exposing his genitals to the people on the plane. And then that's, of course, is when he said that the pilot made some disparaging remarks about his faith. And I don't know, man, like what kind of pilot's going to come out there and be like, this is your captain speaking. What about those Jews, huh? I mean, come on.
Oh, interesting.
I just don't know that the pilot's really going to go out there and say anything like that. But if he did, I guess he thought, you know what, I'm going to get even with this guy and just constipate in here for 20 minutes in the bathroom.
Yeah, you never know what people are doing in there. Probably vaping and...
Well, it's not like he was just sitting around on his phone. His pants were down.
Yeah. That's got to be one of the funniest. Like, I bet you could write a little, ironically, a toilet book about being a passenger on an airplane sitting by the restroom.
Oh, yeah.
Of all the interesting conversations or, you know.
That is a terrible seat to be on. That's really bad in this situation.
Yeah.
This guy comes spilling out.
That's funny.
I'm constipated, man. What'd you call me? A professor sued a New Jersey university, claiming the school's negligence led 380-million-year-old fossils to end up in a landfill in Nashville, Tennessee last year. Kind of a long story. Not going to go into the whole thing, but it is kind of interesting. Martin Becker, a professor of environmental science and a paleontologist at William Patterson University, had planned to collaborate with a colleague on a comprehensive monograph. Sounds like something you're always working on. I just can't wait to work on my comprehensive monograph.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that is. Featuring his fossil collection, according to a civil suit filed last week in Superior Court. So long story short, he takes about 80% of his fossil collection down to the university's mail room, packages them all up, and says, hey, send these off to my good buddy in Florida. Could you please? The guy says, sure, no problem. Weeks go by, nothing. Calls his professor in Florida. Hey, did you ever receive those packages? Uh-oh. Something happened. And I don't know how they found said fossils in a landfill, but apparently the university had neglected to pay their, they have a subscription mail service, and it had run out in April. And this guy tried to ship something off using that same service in July, and the service just said, this is just trash. And they threw these $380 million.
Yeah, why is it always fossils?
fossils?
This is like the third story we've talked about fossils being shipped to the wrong area.
Oh, you're right. One of them got shipped. Yeah, you're right. What was that? I don't know.
One was like an actual dinosaur, like the whole dinosaur.
Yeah, that's right. It was a dinosaur. I think it's because the packages are probably fairly large.
Yeah.
Although this said each package weighed 20 to 60 pounds, 200 different fossils in 19 separate boxes, which, like I said earlier, accounted for about 80% of his collection. Oh, no. But they did recover them, although they may have to contact Tiffany's to see what type of cleaning techniques they use to clean up those fossils after they've been in a landfill. But I just love this fact. Apparently this happened to other people in the university too, where they were sending stuff off that never got it. I don't know what's up with this mailroom.
I'm telling you.
But the guy in the mailroom is now...
Do you think dogs can smell
in
dinosaur
hot water.
bones?
He's in trouble. I mean, why wouldn't they? They may not know that they're dinosaur bones, but I mean, they've got to smell them.
I wonder.
I wonder too. But anyways. I had another story here. Oh, yeah. Did you hear about this? This is pretty funny, man. We talk about Jake from State Farm from time to time on this show, and how the original guy totally is taking it in the shorts because this new guy comes along and
better looking,
younger, getting all the money. Did you hear that after the wildfires in L.A., there were some, and a lot of the policies had been canceled prior to
Like
these fires because it had gotten so expensive to insure some of these homes.
So
they
not during
canceled-
the fire.
No, they canceled the policies before, and then the fire happened. Right after that,
Now, I smell a conspiracy theory already.
insurance companies were kind of taking it in the shorts. And not immune from this was Jake.
Why would they be in trouble?
They canceled policies on people, and their houses caught on fire, and so thus.
But
people
like
were
what?
saying,
2 weeks later, or
I mean,
like a year later?
In some cases, it was a matter of months, a year, whatever. In the preceding years, policies had been canceled.
Well, the way it makes it sound is like, oh, hey, we heard there's a fire up north.
No.
It's coming down. We're going to have to cancel your policy.
No, but these policies had been canceled, and then of course the worst occurs, making the insurance companies not look very good, et cetera, et cetera.
How do they not look? How would they cancel
policies all the time? They're a for-profit business. I get it. I'm just saying that they're kind of getting drugged through the mud.
Okay, I get
People
it. I mean,
well, who's the face of one of the largest insurance companies
Jake
out
from
there?
State Farm.
Jake. Apparently, he has been.
he's the one that personally handled all my claims.
Yeah, I bet. Hey,
Duh.
Jake, what are you doing?
He didn't cancel my fire policy.
Well, the actor's name is Kevin Miles. That's his actual real name. And apparently he has received online backlash as users question if he supports State Farm's canceling fire plan. So this guy's having to answer now. Poor guy. He goes from the top of the hill down to the bottom of the ravine.
You know what's funny about that? I wonder if there is some type of discussion with famous people who become a face of a product. And I bet you there's great stories, like something like it kills children. And like, oh, great. It's like kind of like that Jared from Subway, but that's in reverse scenario. That's a reverse scenario. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why this guy would care because he didn't do anything wrong.
No, he didn't, but he's just facing all this backlash now. And I think it's kind of, I mean, it sucks for him.
mean,
'cause
think about-
obviously, he's just
think
an actor.
about-
He's literally just an actor.
Think about the Tesla people. They're dealing with that crap.
Oh, yeah. They have nothing to do with this. Like,
Yeah.
I just bought a cheap car. What are you doing, man? Some of these folks, what I think is interesting is you have people that were on the left buying a car because it was quote unquote environmentally friendly back 2017, 2018 when the image of Tesla was completely different. And now they're like, no, bro, I promise.
No, I think my favorite one is everyone saying
love Elon.
don't buy from a Nazi.
Jeez.
And I'm like, you know that BMW that you're probably driving was literally funded by a Nazi.
Well, I mean, maybe, man. I mean,
No, they were like they stayed afloat during the war because they made cars. For
yeah,
the
I'm saying, yeah, like 3 degrees of separation at this
So
point.
it's like,
maybe, but
what are
yeah.
we? I
Yeah,
mean,
where do you draw the line?
that's not a line that needs to be drawn. That's kind of like
Light them on fire, baby.
if you use that logic. Well, come on now. But no, yeah. What other products out there? Like, you know, the Nike shoes when all those people committed suicide.
Oh, to go see the Hale-Bop comet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
so
talked about that.
they got, but that really wasn't the guy who's like the Jolly Green Giant or something like that.
I don't know what you're getting
I'm trying
at.
to figure out like the actor who faces backlash for a product.
Well,
that,
Flo hasn't faced any backlash. She's next. What about that other little
She's
twerp?
next.
Yeah, she's in my crosshairs now, man.
well, let's not say it like that.
Well, not
But,
that. I don't mean crosshairs like that. And what's that other little dork, Jamie, that she works with?
All of them. They're all
All of-
dorks.
Yeah, they're all dorks.
They're all on the spectrum.
They're all good. They all should answer for the cancellation of the
Yeah.
policies.
I
No,
think
it's just sad,
that's
man.
kind of remarkable. But then
It is
again,
kind of remarkable.
But then again,
But then again, we live in a society where you have to vape to keep your Tamagotchi alive.
Yeah.
So let's be honest.
yeah.
It all makes sense.
I always wondered, like, especially if you're a tobacco executive, if you know how when you meet people who work for like large corporations, they have the weirdest office names or like titles.
Yeah, like
Like-
relationship manager.
Yeah, like you have no.
What is
like,
it that you do?
Yeah, like because they changed their names. We're no longer Philip Morris or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do there? Oh, I'm a account manager, executive position, vice president, and you're kind of like, okay, and then you don't want to tell people, yeah, we make cigarettes, we make Tamagotchi
Yeah, right.
things.
No, you're probably right, and especially if you're talking about tobacco companies, they probably do have to get pretty creative with what they actually are.
Yeah.
They probably start doing other things, just so that they can diversify.
I would tell people I'm one of the 4 horsemen.
Yes, you would.
That's what I would.
Again.
I would love that.
on the spectrum.
I would love to tell people that. Like, what? You don't think that would be creative at all?
Last story here: a man who told emergency services, a man who told an emergency services call handler to send Donald Trump to his house so he could unalive him, has been arrested. Good God.
That's just a lazy guy
Justin
right there.
Blackston from 30. Yeah, dude, at least go out and find him your own damn self. Justin Blackston, 34, from Florida, made multiple calls to 911 on February 26th, according to the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, where he threatened to do terrible things to the United States president. I even feel weird just saying it on the air.
Well, I think everyone says something about him today, right? Would
Yeah,
you say that? Like, you
probably,
could ask
but-
anybody.
But anyway, so yeah, apparently he made wild claims that he hacked into the U.S. missile system and would destroy New York, according to police. I want Donald Trump at my house. Tomorrow is his last day on. Oh my God, yeah. So you get where we're going. But yeah, this guy calls 911.
Was he wheelchair bound or something?
Yeah. Why can't you just go get him yourself?
Well, he probably has a gun in his shoe.
Right, trying to get the cockroach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also says tell the FBI.
I'm surprised
I'm
this-
not going to read some of this stuff. I'm actually really uncomfortable reading
This
some
stuff
of this
happens. I feel like this happens all the time.
Especially
with Donald Trump. People, like, really don't like that guy.
Calling 911
Yeah,
to
well,
tell him to bring him to
911
my
thing.
house.
That's kind of
It does kind of remind me of Cousin Eddie going and getting Chevy Chase's boss from him and delivering him on Christmas Day. I want that guy here right now.
Yeah. I don't know
this guy
why. I
actually
don't know why
reacted.
you would think 911 was the one that
I know.
delivers that.
Well, okay, who are you going to call then?
But then again, people are getting dinosaur bones in the mail, and they're like, "All right, anything can happen, dude." Kind of like when I got all those Xanax in the mail.
Kind of like. It is kind of
That
very
was-
similar.
I told you that story, right?
Multiple times,
Yeah,
yes.
that's
Yeah,
good.
It is
That's
good.
a good story.
It is good stuff. It is good stuff. I don't know. Who else you going to call? If you're wanting to get the president at your house, regardless if it's to do bad things to him or not, what are you going to call?
I would probably call whoever he's paying the most attention to that week, because he always like locks in on somebody.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. I suppose you're right.
So I just get in touch with that guy, like, "Hey, you clearly have his ear for the second, even if he doesn't like you."
Maybe you're right. Maybe I didn't think this all the way through. All right, buddy, it's time for the quick hit here at the end of the show. Dick, do you know who Helena Blavatsky is?
No, I don't.
Well, she is often known as Madame Blavatsky.
Ooh, I love the woman named Madame.
Was a Russian and American, I'm not sure how that works, but was a Russian and American mystic and writer who
Well,
co-founded...
you know how people can become American, right? They can move here and...
Yeah, but buddy, once you come to America, you just need to be American.
Oh,
I don't know, man.
okay.
You gonna let me get through this?
No, I don't.
She was a mystic, a writer, and co-founder of the Theosophical Society in 1875. She gained an international following as the primary founder of Theosophy as a belief system. Well, Theosophy, if you want to know, is an occult religious movement established in the United States in the late 19th century period, founded primarily by the Russian, as I said, Helena Blavatsky, and based largely on her writings. It draws heavily from older European philosophies such as Neoplatonism and Indian religions. Ooh. So this lady essentially started the occult.
Oh, I like it.
Kind of weird, man.
You know, I got something random to ask you.
Yeah, man.
So what happens when you meet people who are from, like, countries that no longer exist? Do you think they could still claim that? So, like, say you're from Yugoslavia, right?
Okay.
And then, like, oh, I moved to America, and you tell them, like, oh, no, I'm Yugoslavian. And be like, well, that doesn't exist anymore.
You're not even a person, man.
Well, no, I'm asking. I'm trying to understand your logic here. Why can't she be American? Why,
It says both. I don't understand
she
how that
can
works.
be both.
Not in my book.
Oh.
I think you can say you're from wherever you want to say, man.
Wouldn't that be awesome if that was your neighbor?
No, I don't want to be anywhere near this lady. She's probably very weird.
Yeah.
Theosophy, the occult religious movement. Ooh.
See,
I don't know, man.
I would develop
Very
a rapport
weirdo.
with her, and like we'd have our coffee every Saturday morning together on the porch,
Bet she has a tail.
and she would talk about her mystic arts, and I'd be like, "Yeah, that's our morning chat."
Well, Theosophy teaches that there is an ancient and secretive brotherhood of spiritual adepts known
know what
as the Masters.
You know, I'd ask her every time before I left. I'd be like, "Need any of my toenail clippings? Need
She's
any?
like, I always need toenail
You need
clippings.
some clippings? I got some fresh ones right now."
Apparently, these masters are found around the world, but primarily centered in Tibet. I love all this crap. She probably made it up off the top of her head, man. She hit that vape pen one too many times.
Had that crack
Yeah, man.
of the chiropractor release that LSD. Saw the
Oh,
tomorrow
man.
dinosaur. I like it. I think.
Love it.
Well, I mean, it's always fun to know this actually existed,
Yeah.
and then especially with her huge history, because if you go to her Wikipedia, it is very long,
It's massive.
and she wrote a lot.
I just wish I could say things like Neoplatonism a lot easier as I read them the first time. I look at these words, I'm like, I don't know how to say this. I don't know.
Well, what I love
very
is if you start reading through the whole thing, they talk about her taxidermy collection.
Oh, I'm sure it's extensive.
So I was like,
a
all
lot
right.
of animals with curly horns, I bet.
Well, I mean, I guess that would add it. Those were added afterwards.
The horns?
Yeah, because there's only so many animals that have curly horns.
Yeah, but you can have lots of them.
Yeah,
How many
true.
are there that have curly horns?
Oh, I know of for like sure would be a ram.
No, then there's the one with the tall spiral ones.
That's
that go
the
straight.
axis.
Yeah, axis, and then a ram.
That's not curly.
Well, spiral, I
Okay.
guess is what I should say. Whatever, man. All right, buddy. This was a fun, although weird show, I guess. We're ending on the occult. Very strange.
Well, we did learn today that you don't believe people who were born in Yugoslavia before 1992, they're no longer existing anymore.
Don't know. I believe you're putting words into my mouth, sir. I said nothing of the sort.
I believe in you.
Hey, all of our Yugoslavian onesies.
I believe in you.
I'm not going to make this lady our onesie
I
of the
wonder
week,
how that would work.
but
though.
they are our onesie of
If
the
you
week.
know anyone from Yugoslavia when it was around, do they still consider themselves part of Yugoslavia?
Again, I bet you they do.
Because I always wondered that about the people like West Germany after World War II. Like they're like, oh, they're from the West. And I'm like, they still use that. Like if you go to certain history books, like say we find a new one for next week's person of interest, they'll say, oh, he was born in West Germany. And I was like,
Exist.
but it doesn't exist.
It's the problem with borders, man. They're created by man. And they can be destroyed by man.
And that's why we're blessed that doctors don't care.
Because they don't have borders.
They don't believe in borders. We'll see you guys.
Bye.